You are now live. What's good? I want to see who's gonna clock in and lock in. All right, I see you, Kimmy. We got Joey Jihad. We got Skeptical King 23, Whole Money 44, Code 32, C Frederick 63, Roman Colvin. Oh, y'all coming in real quick, huh? Y'all not playing today. Vivian Ramirez, okay. I hate messing people's name up. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a few minutes, man, for some people to come in. We got Lil Wayne in the building. So for a lot of y'all that's just joining, my name is Raheem Shabazz. Most of y'all follow me. Some of the names I'm familiar with. Some of y'all, I'm not even gonna lie, man, I don't know you from a can of paint. You know, and some of y'all might have been following me for a minute, but we never had no interactions. I try to answer as many people as possible when they send me a DM, but as many of y'all know, sometimes it's humanly impossible to address each and every one of y'all. Nevertheless, I do appreciate those that do follow me. All right, we got High Heels in the building. Salam alaikum, sister. How you doing? Yeah, so, you know, it was a time period where it was like an 18-month time period where I wasn't even able to go live, you know. And at that time, man, I was frustrated. I was really like, man, I'm missing out. I can't go live. But, you know, after a while, you know, you get used to it. Like, so I think I want to say maybe 2 months, the most 3 months, they restored it back. And I only went live one time, actually, is because I be busy, man, you know. I be really, really busy. What's up, Ginger? But I really want to come on here, man, and interact, man, with those that follow me. I want people to shout out, man, talk about their black business. Let me say that again. I want people to talk about their black business. So raise your hand if you want to go live, you know, request to go live with me. I'm going to see if I can... I forgot how to do this shit, man. Let me see something. You have no request. High Heels, request to go live with me. Let me see if the sister come on, man, and showcase her business. You know, because if we don't do nothing else, man, we definitely can support one another and keep that black dollar circulating in the community. You know, the Honorable Marcus Garvey said that we got to think black, be black, and everything else will work itself out. Ginger said not black and don't have a business. Okay. Today, though, we supporting black business. So I'm going to see if my sister High Heels can jump up in here. But there's a way that I should be able to request people, right? Oh, yeah, here it go. Let me see. Here it go. Let me invite her. You know, I know sometimes, man, this late at night, most people are probably just laying down, getting ready to go to bed. And, oh, it says she joined. I don't see it yet. Maybe she'll come in. But I know how it is. Y'all laying in the bed with the bonnet on your head and ain't trying to get on camera. I get it. I get it. I was ripping and running today, so this is the only time I got a chance to really be able to go live. All right, we got Knowledge Born Allah in the building. Revolutionary salute. All right, High Hill says she's unable to go live. Let me see if I can get the God Knowledge Born to go live. He said, "Let me get your autograph." Stop it! I just sent you a request, Lord. Let's get into it. Yeah, the brother Knowledge Born got some books out. I wanna talk to him about his books. If we could get him to go live. Peace to the God. Every time we go live, man, we could never get you in frame, in focus. What's going on, black man?
Face, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, man. But what's up with the visual?
Hold on.
Yeah, every time we go live, this happens. Oh, okay.
Okay,
Here we
feel me.
go.
There you go.
I see you now. You're in 4D.
Face.
What's up with the sound, though, man? Huh?
Hold on, I'm getting a call. Hold on.
Yeah.
Face, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Now I hear you good.
All right.
Yeah, you got to put it on Do Not Disturb. So, yeah, black man, tell me what's going on. I know you got some books out, right?
Yeah, I got a few. I got about 12 ebook series, dedicated to our refinement. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, I got a few. I got 12 short ebooks dedicated to, our resurrection and our rise. I see that there's a delineation movement that's happening in regards to it, and it's apropos to either side. You know what I'm saying? So we deal with what's in the best interest of self-defining and self-defending. So whatever side of that space it is, it's love. You know what I mean? So we approach the situation with love. I can recognize both aspects. I just don't want us to be caught up in the forepart. You understand what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
technology is on the rise. So whatever side of that space you want, we got a curriculum that's based for you. You know what I'm saying? So literally voices of the diaspora. So whether you identify your origin with the mother continent or you giving honest to right here, where we at. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's all up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I got into I don't even want to say a debate, man, because after a while, man, I was just like, you know what? I'm out of here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the determining factor any room I walk into. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
allow myself to engage with individuals that was a few of them was on some low vibration, and they try to tell me, that I got to be a Pan-Africanist. And I'm like, no, sir. I respect the movement. I rock with them. You know what I mean? But, my ancestors, fought, prayed, and is buried on this soil here in America, right? And I'm going to continue that tradition and continue that fight, right? So why would I go to the homeland that many of y'all fled from to come over here to enjoy the fruits of this labor, and I go over there and continue your fight? That's like reversing roles. But this is where like the rubber meets the road, right? Because there are those that are frontline warriors that come from the mother continent and is about
Mhm.
freedom, justice, and equality, and is willing to help in this fight to eradicate racism and white supremacy. And then there are those that is like, yo, listen, I came over here for a good life. I ain't a part of that. Y'all got to deal with that. You know what I mean? And they
Right.
don't realize that a lot of the benefits they got was fought on behalf of our ancestors. You know what I mean? So it, it's a I don't know, man. Some people I just take it to the extreme, man. I didn't even know it was a boycott. August 1st, a boycott against the African stores and all of that. Like, now you
That's
making
great.
it inclusive
Yeah.
of everybody that's African, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not with that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm
Who,
not. I'm
who
not
the
with that.
eighty-five
And I
ten?
seen some brothers that I know promoting that, and I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
this is where we at with it.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's crazy. How did it get
It,
to that?
it becomes performative. You see what I'm saying? The trader made an inter-orientation, saying that they'll receive more gold for their labor, more than they were earning in their own country. That's how it got to that. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? So who the 85, 10, and 5% on poor part of the planet Earth? It works. That just means that our mathematics is alive and our lessons are 100% near correct. Period.
Right and exact.
Yeah. So in that space, when you're dealing with something from the poor part, dissatisfaction, God, we know.
Dissatisfaction bring about change.
Dissatisfaction has two functions, right? It borns God or it makes devil.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between. It borns God or it makes devil. So, I apologize to the foundational Black American because the foundational Black American births the Pan African. It doesn't go the other way. The foundational Black American births Pan Africanism. It doesn't have its roots with African people. It has its roots with foundational Black American. So there are two factions that seem like they're at odds with one another, but we A alike.
Mm-hmm.
There's no socialization for an African outside of us putting this together, not the other way around. Now, there's an association in regards to people from the continent coming to the aid of Black people in America, and then you can reverse it in regards to their independence from 1957 to 1990, where
Mm-hmm.
Black people in America coming to the aid of continental Africans. You see what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah, absolutely. You
So
you
we
had
had
the We Are the World. You had the I remember they did the big song to fight apartheid in Africa, in
right,
South Africa. I remember, all the college campuses, gravitating together to free Mandela. Look, it took
right,
27 years, man, but that fight was fought over here. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then
100%.
reverberated around the world. You know what I mean? Because in South Africa, man, they were stifling the voices that was trying to rise up. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
They got to a point where, even his wife, Winnie Mandela, couldn't do too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all and everything came from here. And, not to toot our own horn, man, but, yo, Foundation Black Americans, man, make it what it is, man. Once we get a part of a movement, you know what I mean, it takes off. And that's why a lot of people are upset when we don't, stand 10 toes down against immigration.
Hmm.
And to be honest, many of us feel like, yo, listen, that's not our fight, man. You know what I mean? I'm fighting against police brutality. I'm fighting against the school to prison pipeline.
That's
I'm
right.
fighting against principalities in high places. And I'm
Right.
trying to help those that are in my immediate community. And to be honest, it ain't too many immigrants around here. In fact, I don't think there's probably more than 100 immigrants in a 5-mile radius from where I live. But I live in Black Atlanta, though, so you know. But what's up, man? Other than that, man, give us some titles of your book, Lord. You got some in front of you right now?
I got a few. I got a few.
All right.
One of them in particular is Securing the Legacy. That's my latest volume. So Securing the Legacy deals with the disaster preparedness and survival. You
Oh,
see what I'm
prepping.
saying? Yeah, prepping, uh, survival, all of those things. You see what I'm saying? So everybody has it. So It's indiscriminate. A flood don't care where you live.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? A tornado, a hurricane, it doesn't care where you live. You even look at the continent recently. Last year they had snow in places where it never snowed before. You see what I'm saying? So they out
Mm-hmm.
there like on some to get take like grits dumping from the sky type of situation. So when you're dealing with natural infirmities that don't wait on your clock, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be prepared to understand where you are. So
Absolutely.
it's something that's dedicated to Black people to go through with your family in regards to that. And I have another volume that's connected to it. It's called The Power of Black Family, because we get into, some of these situations, and these are some situations that are long standing, right? They're as old as the 1600s. It's not new.
Mm-hmm.
So delineation is not a new concept. It's as old as the 1600s. You can go back through the annals of history of self-defining and self-defending. Are we here? Are we leaving? And folks been saying, I'm staying here, and folks been leaving since the 1600s. You understand
Oh
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
absolutely. If you go back to I think it was I want to say 1850. You have the American Colonization Society
Hmm.
where what was it, 5,000? No, it was 15,000 Black Americans that they sent over to Liberia.
Right,
And then look what happened over there. It wasn't just a smooth transition. A lot of people from that native land, felt like, that these are new people coming over here. We have our customs and norms, and they trying to
right,
change it. And they had to get used to the customs and norms of the people. So it was a lot of friction over there. If you go read what actually happened, and,
yeah.
and a lot of them returned back and was like, oh, nah, we can't do that.
And
You know
those
what I
people
mean?
staying.
And, and,
There's a
and
balance.
that made it popular with that saying, there's no place like home. When they came
Right.
back home, they was like, yeah. But I'm going to tell you what did happen. The good thing about that is Liberia was the first republic in Africa. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? And that was due to Black Americans that was over there. They
Right,
went over there and they made that a sovereign nation. You know what I mean? So you just juxtapose it and you say, okay, they couldn't get along. There's going to be friction. And then you juxtapose it and look at it on the other side. When they did get together, what happened? They became a sovereign nation. They couldn't do it by themselves. It
right.
took those Black Americans that came over there and stood on business. You know what I mean? But
Look at the
the sister
caveat,
High
Lord.
Hills, hold on 1 minute. The sister High Hills said there are a lot of African immigrants. And you're absolutely right, sister. What I was talking about was in my geographical
Yep.
location
Right,
right here in the West End, which is the epic center of Black consciousness. Yeah, there's a lot, but there's not a lot here where I'm at in this geographical location. But yo, shout out to my African brothers and sisters. Like I don't have nothing against uh, um the brothers and sisters from the diaspora. And I think the problem is that someone will see a post and they just go in and go crazy and make it
right,
inclusive of
right.
everybody. You know what I mean? All Africans,
Yeah,
all
it don't
Black
work like
Americans.
that. Yeah, it
And,
don't work.
and
Yeah,
I don't think that's warranted. It should never be that. You know what I mean? Like we gotta get away from them stereotypes. You know what I mean? And that's why you cannot find online anywhere where me personally use the word tether. You know what I mean? I know what it stands for. I
right,
know that there are people
right.
that come over here and will undermine Black Americans and use the resources that's allotted for them and
Hmm.
cosplay like they Black Americans and then do stuff to undermine Black Americans. And those are who they call tethered. But I'll tell you why I don't use it, right? Because I seen the way it was being used and it became like a racial slur.
Learn.
And I
Where's the
was
time?
like, ah. You know what I mean? I have to call them something else. You know what I mean? I don't want to use that term. I don't want to popularize it. But do those type of people exist? Absolutely. But
Right.
you say something that um they don't a person don't agree with, the first thing they say, "Oh, where you from?" You'll tell them. I'll be like, "Yo, god damn, y'all just tethered everybody."
Yeah,
You
it's
know
the
what I mean?
forefront.
So yeah, I ain't really with that, man. You know what I mean? Like, yo, listen, man, we gotta fight. We gotta fight the open enemy, man.
Right.
The open enemy. So yo, listen, man. Hold on 1 minute, y'all.
I just want to add a little context to the 1850.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
1850,
yeah. Hey, hey.
you add 115 years to that, and I'm going to show the marriage of what happened in 1850. 1850 is Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
1965, there's a group of black people in Chicago that are expressing means to expat from Chicago to Israel.
Are you talking about the Hebrew Israelites?
Yeah. That's the relationship now.
Yeah.
The people from Sierra Leone say they show up in Chicago, they send a delegation and say, "Oh, y'all looking to repatriate? We're gonna help you." So that's that end, and the
Mm-hmm.
entire city of Chicago, not just a few people, back those who are looking to expat. So they go from Chicago to Liberia, and then from Liberia into Israel.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a situation that appears for all intents and purposes as Pan-African, but it's foundational black Americans in Sierra Leone linking with foundational black Americans who put together this ideology of repatriation or expat
Mm-hmm.
over into Africa and then eventually into Israel. So
Yeah.
I just want to marry the concepts together because
That was in the 1950s, right?
1960s,
1960s. Okay.
1965.
Okay.
So literally it's really 68 into 69,
Mm-hmm.
but these are the marrying concepts that are there. But it was birthed out of 1965.
And you know what? That was a more organic movement because a lot of people felt like that was a trick bag, you know,
Mm-hmm.
when the American Colonization Society was funding and getting people to go over to Liberia, right? And it was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, nah, y'all trying to send us over here so that y'all can continue the racism and you know what I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
dwindle our numbers and weaken our fight. You know what I mean? Like, nah, we're not going over there. We're gonna fight that fight right here. You know, so a lot of people wasn't with it, and it kind of lost its steam when people actually came back and started telling the truth. Like, oh yeah, you don't want to go over there. You know what I mean? It's a lot of tribalism. They have their ways and their customs, and
Mm-hmm.
um, we was bumping heads or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Some people was missing the
A
home.
lot of people stayed too. There's
Yeah. Oh
account
no.
about
Yeah. A lot of people stayed.
and just like I, I'm not painting a fairy tale about folks going to Israel. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people who's like, oh nah, yo, I'm not with that. They came back. You see what I'm saying? So expats had been leaving this country. The point was expats have been leaving this continent for 400 years.
Yeah.
And some folks stay and some folks go. So if you look in Ghana, if you look in Ethiopia, if you look in Eritrea, if you look in the UK, if you look in the Caribbean, the expat movement has been a large movement in regards to self-identity based off of your cultural norms. So if your cultural norms lead you to a space where you need to leave America, then that's all well and good. But there are folks that you can do trade with that exist here that is your people. So I
Absolutely.
would rather do business with my people at home and abroad than
Mm-hmm.
to be dealing, in a space with these foreigners that have interloped everywhere. You see what I'm saying? The real tethers, the real bloodsuckers of the poor. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Cause they over there too.
Yeah, they're everywhere. You're not
Yeah.
gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think, yeah, you know, that you expatriate and you ain't gonna deal with racism and white supremacy, and lo and behold, they controlling things over there as well. It's
And
just not
neo-colonialism.
overtly, you know what I mean? Everything is done
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes. So yeah, you got to deal with that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, man, let me tell you something.
Pull that
This is
great
the
ass book
labor
up.
of love right here. You know what I mean? Radical hope in the 21st century. Um, this book, man, we deal with immigration. We deal with
Mm.
reparation, the unpaid debt, the moral economic case for reparation for Black American,
Right.
education and past, the overcoming diversity. Let me see a few more topics of discussion. Uh, We deal with elementary genocide, the school to prison pipeline, financial literacy, stronger together, the power of Black unity, challenging misconceptions on Black crimes,
Yes.
shattering neighborhood highway as agents of displacement, showing how the Black community was destroyed from gentrification and what do they call it? Public domain.
Eminent domain.
Intimate domain. I said public domain. Intimate domain.
Well, they got a virtual space. Public domain would be, apropos for the public domain, from the virtual space because they trying to kick us off platforms and shadow
Oh
ban
yeah,
us and things like that.
absolutely,
So yeah, definitely.
absolutely. And this book, man, I got a quote from our Grandmaster teacher, Professor James Small. I also got a quote from Tariq Nasheed. And this book is well received. It made it to #1 on Amazon. Sold a considerable amount of copies. I did about 5 screenings here. I said screenings, book signings. I'm thinking about the DVD.
Look,
I did 5 book signings already here in Atlanta. Madu Bookstore, Nubian Bookstore, Timbuktu, and Culture 360.
like that.
And I will be in New York August 16th. I will be up there the 14th to the 19th. So I'll be up there 5 days. And let me tell you something. When I touch down in the city, we going up. I'm gonna probably hit up several spots. I'm trying to get a date. So those that follow me on Instagram, you'll see it. But definitely going to Nicholas Bookstore um,
Mm.
in Brooklyn and the one in Harlem.
Yes.
Another one called Our Sister's Place in Harlem. I'll be there. Few other spots, you know what I mean? But yeah,
Hit up north. Source of knowledge. Hit up north. Downtown
Source of
north.
Knowledge, yeah, Newark,
Yeah.
New Jersey, yeah, and then I gotta get out to Philly to what's the
Like a
brother
Nobel.
Hakeem in them, huh?
Like a Nobel.
Black and Noble, Hakeem and them. Yeah, I gotta get
Yeah.
out there. Boston, Massachusetts. I've been getting a lot of calls from out there. It's a few spots from out there. Boston, man, used to be like a second home to me. I used to
Where
be
you
on
from?
Main. I used to be on Blue Hill. I used to be in
Hmm.
Rogersville Projects, JP Projects. Shout out to everybody in Beantown. You know, yeah, I got a lot of family. I'm talking about like street family out there. So when I go out there, it's always
I'm gonna be
genuine
in
love.
Miami at the end of the month, celebrating 10 years. Hey, Lord, could you fathom in your mind 10 years of Do Knowledge Radio? So my cyberversary is coming up at the end of the month. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So
How
I'll be
many
in Miami.
episodes? How many episodes you on now?
4,000.
Woo! Last time
4,000.
I counted, I think I'm at like 158 or something like that. You 4,000?
Very fun, guy.
Man, yo, I'm gonna give it to you, man. Your consistency is like crazy. I remember one time you did like a 24-hour like fundraiser, right?
Word is
And I had
fun.
called in and I was
Yes.
speaking and other people was calling in. It was like a marathon for 24 hours.
Yeah, I got to get a couple of copies of your book so I can put it in the bookstore in Miami that's down here. You see
All
what I'm
right. And you
saying?
said you leaving the end of the month?
Yeah.
Will you be in Atlanta before then, or you need me to mail it to you?
Mail it, and
All right, all right, all right.
if
That's
you
what's
do
up.
like a little short joint, like maybe like a minute, minute and a half, talking about you where you are, shouting out the Cyberversary, we doing a live stream down there, and it'll be a part of the live stream. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, I could do that. I could do that and send it to you.
Word.
Yeah, man. Definitely, I appreciate that. The sister, High Heels said go to Nicholas. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna go to Nicholas, see the sister Monique.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
love. That's love. Like I love how people shout out places like you're not from there. You from there? You understand what I'm
yeah.
saying?
I'm from there. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
yo, listen. Me not going to see my people, man, would be uncivilized, man. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be on 125th Street, so you know I gotta stop in right there to the law school in Mecca. You know where
Word, son.
knowledge and wisdom of the original man began, where the plans was first found. You know?
Right. Look at
Yeah.
him. Look, he's swift with it, God. You still got it, God. You
Oh
understand what I'm saying?
yeah. You come on, man. Listen, man. I had to the Pan-Africanist was coming at me. Like,
Yeah,
yo, you a part of this movement. And I'm like, yo, listen, I ain't a part of no movement. The only
word is
thing
bond.
I ever been a part of is the Nation of Gods and Earth for
Mm.
42 years.
They
40,
knowledge born in no limits of
I have
time.
to go back. It's over 40 years, though. You know what I mean? I
Right.
might be telling my age. Matter of fact, it's 42 years. I was writing exact 42 years. You know what I mean? So, you know, you know, people don't understand that you can show solidarity. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? You can go to people's events, you can help them out. You know what I mean? And it doesn't change your school of thought. You know what I mean? It doesn't change the essence of who you are. You
Word.
know, they was like, yo, I seen you with a shirt that was red, black, and green. Yeah, and you might see me with another one. You know what I mean? What that mean? You know what I mean? But you say you FBA. FBA is a lineage. You know what I mean? And they just took the conversation somewhere totally different. And I'm just like, man,
And
y'all,
they're
y'all
missing
really
the
don't
best part
understand.
for
Y'all
the
really,
poor part. Where because there's a word called delineation. That's not a space of dissatisfaction, but there is an element of dissatisfaction. We have poor representation. We
yeah.
have poor representation, and you can't be associated with poor representation. There's nothing wrong with that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's
You
like,
know what I don't like? Like, for instance, right? I would never go anywhere on this planet, right?
hmm
Amongst a group of people, knowing that I'm a black American and I don't care how melanated they are, if they from another geographical location, I will not go and speak for them.
right,
So I have a problem when an individual, because he's melanated like myself, want to speak for black Americans. And a lot of times they be off code and they don't be right and exact. You know what I mean?
right,
For instance, the is he's the governor of Maryland or something like that. You know he spoke out against reparations. You
yeah,
know, he's like, you know, and you got those that are trying to say that he said that we don't need another bill to study reparations. And it was not about another bill. You know what I mean? And even if that's the case of the argument that we don't need another bill to study
supposed to
reparations,
keep that.
then what are you putting forth to push, you know, reparations forward? Nothing.
Right,
And then to come to find out, you know what I mean, he's not even black American. You know what I mean? But your constituents that put you in office is black American. So this is what we say when we can't have those that are not from the soil, you know, they're not loyal to the soil, and they
right,
haven't been through what we've been through. You know what I mean? Like they haven't
right,
been through um, the Great Maafa. They haven't been through Reconstruction. They
right.
haven't been through the peculiar
Black
institute of
code,
slavery, civil
yeah,
rights,
right.
the Renaissance. You know what
Jim
I mean?
Crow. hmm
It's so much that they haven't been through, and to come and to speak for those people, you know what I mean? It's not like we voiceless, you know what I mean? Shit, we got too many of our own people trying to speak for us. So we
Right.
definitely don't need outside forces speaking for us. And then, most people wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm not saying me, but most people wouldn't have a problem with it if you were speaking and you was on code. You
Right.
know what I mean? And I think that's the main problem is, people not being on code. And I think why people not being on code because they're looking for this Messiah. They're looking for a leadership. And you must seek leadership within yourself. And I talk about that in this book. You know what I mean? Like you got to seek leadership within yourself, man. And the code is the leader. I talk
Word.
about that. I go real in depth with that in the book. You know, so I employ everybody, man, to go buy the book. And even if you don't buy my book, buy knowledge book. You know what I mean? But get back to the basics, man. Read. There was a time, man, where I know when I was growing up, that's all we did, was read. We read books by Jawanza Kajufu, Ivan Van Sertima,
Right.
Chancellor Williams,
Right.
um, whew, John Henry Clark, you
Terrence
know.
Fanon, Dr. Amos Wilson,
Here we go. Let's
Bobby.
go.
Right. You
Naeem
understand?
Akbar.
Yeah, Naeem Akbar. Come on. It just keeps on going.
Yeah,
Literally.
and today, and I know there's different styles of learning. There's oratory, there's people that read, there's people they learn from like visual, so that's why the documentary, and then I'm coming with the book. Then I'm doing an audio book. A brother just showed me how to do it. He was like, Maheen, look, this is how you do it. You can make it real simple. And
Right.
he took me through the steps of it. So what we got to do is, man, we got to get back to that. And for those that like to watch YouTube, you know, there's a lot of misinformation on YouTube, but there's some good information. There's video of John Henry Clark. There's video of Dr. Ben.
Right.
There's videos of our grandmaster teachers that's still amongst us today.
Right.
Kaba Kenley, Professor James Small.
Yeah.
That are intellectual giants that was there and can give forth the knowledge. People have a problem even when we agree with reparations. It's so interesting. Yeah, High Heel said that. Oh, my sister, Stretch with Angel, she said, me too. I caught up late with TV shows and sitcom because I wasn't watching TV. I was reading books. Yeah, see? That's what it
Yeah.
is.
You got the Norman Lear syndrome. The Norman Lear syndrome pack and package how we actualize with one another. We're
Mm-hmm.
not we're not going back and forth with one another because you organically grew up with a dozen or hiking or snapping or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Norman Lear after effects where they put descent in directly into the black family model.
Yeah,
So you're looking at a model and you see yourself, but you see yourself in a degenerate state. You see what I'm saying? So they'll show you what's happening in good times and all of these other things, right? And then they'll show you like the Cosby Show.
yeah,
So which becomes a push into HBCU that connected with a different world, but you don't see the descent. You don't see this doctor and lawyer at odds with one another showing us a positive black family where the mother and father are in shambles and at war with one another. Where
yeah,
she's belittling him and dishonoring him, and he has to use deceptive means to get back into her good graces. You see what I'm saying? So they're not showing you the underplay for the overplay. They're just showing you the overplay. So this becomes what gets pushed. The Martin show comes from what's happening now. Martin was on what's happening now. So this is why Cole is dating somebody called Big Shirley because of Shirley, who helped him get his spot on what's happening now. You see what I'm saying? So these are all things that are connected and related to where the back room is writing the jokes and the black people on the screen is playing it out. So
absolutely.
how many times we're going to approach a situation to where we get handed the script and we start to play out a script that's detrimental to our benefit versus something that's righteous to our elevation.
You know, it's a good thing that you said that too, right? A lot of people, it probably went over his head when you was like, we got Norman Lear. Brother, real quickly, tell people who Norman Lear was.
Well, Norman Lear was a Zionist who had a mission. He had a mission to carry on a tradition that was started by the Birth of a Nation syndrome that was birthed out of that first silent movie of the Ku Klux Klan in blackface, pushing an agenda,
Mm.
indicting Black America with the blackface of the black man, which spills over to the black woman and child to make an enemy out of them to use as a recruitment tool that was shown from the whitest of the white place in America all the way to the White House.
Yeah, they
So,
played that
so
movie, The
yeah, they played
President.
that movie. Yes, so the president gets a precedent because most of the senators and congressmen and presidents are lawyers, so they operate under Zionist law. This is why they bow to the Israelis, right? They bow then and now. So the birth of a nation, what D.W. Griffin marries into a concept of Norman Lear, who is a Zionist, who wanted to portray black people in a certain state of light that's contingent upon his brothers who came before him. So we got 100 years of Norman Lear and all Norman Lear's disciples, whether it's TV shows or movies, where the writing room controls the entire story and narrative that's associated with black life. So if you want to see criminals, you want to see degenerates, you want to see the Rainbow Coalition or whatever the case may
He
be,
got that.
they got it on deck. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? In
And
a miser way.
Norman Lear, I think he was the executive producer of Good Times, Jefferson, and all of
Everything.
those, right?
Right. And they all come off of Zionist uh Caucasoid shows. They don't come
Mhm.
out of their own. They come from
Yeah.
Zionist Caucasoid.
Now
You
another
got the
thing you
Jefferson
said, another thing
all
you
in
said,
effect.
you brought up Martin, right? On Twitter, you know about the thing that they were saying about Martin,
Right.
and first of all, Martin wasn't pushing colorism, right? So you got people that was not from over here and probably wasn't even in tune with Martin when it was airing, is like trying to bring that up and degrade him for something that wasn't even there. And we just like, yo, where did you come from? How long you been over here? You know what I mean? And it's just like they looking for things to play out in social media. This becomes their playground, But those that are smart enough to know, what we need to do, we need to teach and we need to rise above that. You know what I mean? Because as you can see, man, the brother went back to Norman Lear, you know what I mean, who's a king Zionist in
Mm-hmm.
his field, and those that was his disciples that's going according to his rules and regulation. You think, it was just Yakub that had rules and regulation. Nah.
Yeah.
These scientists got rules and regulation and they got
Mm-hmm.
prescribed laws. And there are those that are melanated like you and me that are going according to them prescribed laws. You know
Right.
what I mean? But it's people like me and knowledge. When we see them, we're going to beat them with many stripes. We're going to
Word is
beat them with
bond.
many stripes, man. And we're going to
Word
tell
is
the
bond.
truth and let the chips fall where it may, man. Because listen, man, what else we going to do, man? You know what I mean? Like, listen, man, I done been through it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's nothing that can happen besides death. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm not afraid of
That
that.
ain't the
I'm not
end.
ready for that, but
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I died when they put me in jail, man. I'm
Word
just
is
gonna be
bond.
honest. I died. I tell my book. I'm writing a book on my life, right? I was reading an excerpt to somebody, and they was like, "Man, Rob," I said something to the effect of, "When I was in jail and people was coming to see me, they was visiting my tombstone." You know what I
Mm.
mean? And I just went into the psychological effect that it can have on an individual that if he ain't of sound body and mind, you know what I mean? And I go through my life cycles, you know what I mean, and the transformation and what I did to become the person I am today. But like I said, man, you know, living in America's most notorious prisons
Mhm.
around the most notorious individuals. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like the tigers, lions, and bears. You
Oh
know,
my.
you
Yeah.
what's the name, man? You dead. You know what I mean? You dead. You know what I mean? Because there was a time. You know what I mean? That in order to survive, you had to become a part of, that oppressive class. You know what I mean? Like you had to
Hmm.
show that, yo, listen, I'm willing to die for this. You know what I mean? Like I'm willing, like it's not gonna happen with me. You know what I
Right.
mean? And once a person see it, you know what I mean? Like you might be good. That don't mean you're gonna be good. You might be good. You
Right.
know, so it's crazy, man. I had a family member call me today. In fact, it was on the news. Um, One of their family members is currently in Grady Hospital right now.
Mm.
That was in Fulton County Jail and got stabbed up by 3 gang members. And they punctured his lung. You know, I want to say 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago, one of my good friends, his nephew, got killed in a prison out here in Atlanta in the yard. It was in the newspaper. It was on the news. You know, so this is the thing, man. We can't unify out here in the streets. There's no unity in jail. It's fighting, mayhem, and chaos. And we got to unify, man, around a common cause. And that common cause,
Mm.
man, is this one open enemy, that we got to fight against. And listen, man, we could disagree about everything. You know what I mean? But we got to have that one common cause, man. But yep, Jeffersons can for all. Oh, Jeffersons and all in the family. Yeah, all in the family was crazy.
Yeah. It's a relationship, and they were
Yeah, that
showing
was
you.
was all in the family. Norman Lears. That was Norman Lears
Yes.
too, right?
Of course. Yeah. 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 We don't see anything from television that don't have its roots over there. If you go back to even from All in the Family to Married with Children to
Oh
Roseanne
yeah,
Barr.
Al Bundy. Oh man.
Yeah. This is all Zionist behavior. All of the disciples, the people who were writing for the Cosby Show, and the people who were writing for um, A Different World are the same people that were understudies from Norman Lear. Marcy
Oh Lord.
Carsey, Weiner, and all of them. Yeah, and Living Color, everybody. If you saw it on TV, they were writing for it. Rock, if you saw it on TV, they were writing for it. The difference was Rock came from theater and he put on all his people from theater. So they decided what was going to go and what wasn't going to go. And they
So
thought
so
Rock,
so
Rock
if you're saying that the same writers or the understudies of these writers was the same people that worked on the Cosby Show in a different world,
Mhm.
that's two different realities. Why did they decide to do it different?
They
I'm just
didn't do it.
asking.
They didn't decide to do it different. The front people were different. Debbie Allen was
Mm,
involved in A Different World versus her being directly involved with the Cosby Show.
mm-hmm.
Dr. Cosby, he handpicked everybody, blah blah blah, all of that. He made sure everything was everything to present his family in a certain kind of way. However, the writers are still the writers. You see what I'm saying? So the things that they didn't get a chance to touch on in the Cosby Show, Debbie Allen came in and revamped the entire A Different World series.
Mm,
She was supposed to go in there and fire everybody.
yeah.
kept everybody, and the undercurrents of them are always there. So with Married with Children and with Roseanne, Roseanne is a Zionist, no different than Andrew Dice
Oh
Clay.
yeah, yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay is Andrew Silverstein. He's not Dice Clay. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So he could approach the situation and do that no different than Nicholas Ford Coppola, who we know as Nicolas Cage. So there's a bunch of those guys who appear to look like other than the Zionists that they are.
Yeah,
So
they
they could,
said you really dropping some Jews right now, brother.
so we have to understand that because volume 6 of my series, Voices of Diaspora, deals with content and deals with content creation. So from D.W. Griffith to present, we have to understand and know what we're dealing with. You see what I'm saying? So those Zionists that we call Jews or so-called Jews, they are Israeli and they have an ode to things that precede 1942. Where did they go back to? We can trace them back to England and we can trace them back to the Germanic tribes of Bavaria or Germany. You see what I'm saying? So all they could do is they could flip their name around. They could have a name like Jackson, Lord, and they'd be like, oh, hold on, that sounds like, somebody that's with us. Nah.
Now a
Andrew,
lot of them changed their names when they got over here so they could fit in. You know what I
they
mean?
could
Yeah,
cloak.
yeah, yeah, because they knew that in certain segments of society that they wouldn't be accepted wholeheartedly in. You know what I mean? But if they change their name to a Jackson or Johnson or Jefferson, you know what I mean, then they can have friends in all walks of life and high society. So yeah, I definitely get that. All right, so brother, right? You took us down the rabbit hole. You know, I wanna ask you in your humble opinion, right? Because we talked about social media, right? And since the advent of social media, there's really no gatekeepers no more, man, to making movies, to making documentaries. I'm living proof of it. You know, I own 100% of my intellectual property. I never did an exclusive deal. I never gave nobody ownership, and I made that documentary reverberate around the world. You know what I mean? And it was because of the people that embraced it. So, they have a saying that if they build it, they will come. If we put it out, our people is going to resonate with it if it's good quality content. So, what do you think is the solution that we can do so that the understudies of the Norman Lears are no longer irrelevant and that we are pushing content that ain't low vibrational and we get into our people? Because this reality TV show era, this got to be going with the wind, man. You know what I mean? We going on
Mm-hmm.
almost 20, 25, 30 years of this shit, man. Like, this is disgusting, man.
Right.
I don't watch it. You know what I mean? I don't watch it at all, man. It's just certain shows that I just, I never watched. Like, I never watched that show with Taraji. What was the one with Taraji and the one that was in Hustle and Flow? What was that show?
Um,
You know what I'm
there's
talking about?
Taraji and Terrence Howard,
Yeah.
right?
What was that show? Empire. Yeah,
There
she
we
said,
go.
"Yo,
Somebody
I
smart
never,
always.
I never watched one show of Empire. Never. I never watched that. What was that called? P Valley or something like that. Never watched that. And the
Right.
reason why is because I seen someone say something online about it. You know what I mean? What it was about. Like, I might have read the synopsis. Like, what? Oh
Mm-hmm.
no, I ain't with that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? And it just never rocked with me, man. You know what I mean? Now, I ain't gonna lie. I rocked with Power. You know what I mean? I seen
Right.
every
It was
Power.
close.
I rocked with BMF. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just like, yo, some people think because you conscious, you can't watch stuff that's, dealing with crime, or might have some like, little low frequency right there. You know what I mean? You gotta have the balance, man. But
See,
I just can't do the reality TV, man. I
we
can't do
read,
it.
we read Iceberg Slim, and
Oh
we
yeah,
read Donald
I
Ball.
met every Iceberg Slim,
Yeah,
Donald
we read
Owens.
both of both of the dichotomies. So power becomes closely related in that space,
Yeah, yeah.
and we came up through the black exploitation era,
Oh
the
yeah,
black exploitation era that saved Zionist Hollywood, right?
yeah. The Mac,
Yeah.
the
So
Mac.
we got the Mac, Shaft, all of those
Yeah,
spaces, right?
because they said that Hollywood was on the brink of bankruptcy. You know what I mean? And the black exploitation films, the Mac and all of those other films, Dolomite, all
Yeah.
of that came in, and it was a flushing cash flow for Hollywood, for these big studios. The same
You
thing,
see
like
Gordon
Lord,
Park.
if you look at it
Right.
right,
You
you
see
you
Gordon
have
Park.
you have Tubi, right? Tubi is owned by Fox.
Yeah.
You don't remember they had a television show, a network called UPN.
Yeah.
They had all the black shows on there.
Hmm.
Jamie Foxx show, Moesha, all of
Yeah.
these shows on there. And as soon as they got the numbers, they switched it to something else. They started calling it CW.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's standing for Caucasian women, because they
Yeah.
started putting all the shows with the white women on there. But they already
That's what
had the
they did. That's
demographics
what
and
they
the
did with
numbers, and they
Fox.
made the
They did
money.
it from Fox to You Poor Negroes,
Oh,
UPN.
you poor Negroes, UPN,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Because In Living Color and Rock had dominated Fox. So
Yeah.
Fox, we've been alive long enough to see all of these adaptations, right? So you like, okay, so how do we deal with our narrative? Volume 6 deals with that exclusively, and Volume 6 says that they need to learn from people like you. They need to learn from people like you in the masterclass sort of setting for creatives that are coming up who are inspired by blackness, but they're being hired by our enemies.
Mm.
So if they don't get it from you and how to get it out of the mud and how to get return on investment and how to, permeate the market in that way, then they're being brought up with their beautiful, bold black minds, whether they Pan-African or foundational Black American,
Mm.
to create films or to create stories of something that is righteous, and they get the dude in the dress. You understand?
Ah,
Or the person with the suit on, and
yeah.
it looks like something that is professional, and that's what's sought after. So that's what they look at. You understand what I'm saying? So if
Mm-hmm.
they don't get it from you,
Yeah.
and if they don't get it from somebody in your network who's culturally rooted and stood the test of time righteously over here, then they won't see it. You see what I'm saying? There are people that you profile, people that are subjects that are given righteous information that are looked at now as miscreants and deviants. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that becomes a situation where it's like, wait a minute, how can I learn from him? And he gave a light to this person, and they don't understand context. At that time, this was somebody who was speaking to this. They might have deviated to this based off of being seduced by this other part. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Because,
So
listen, many shall come and few should be chosen. The ones that's chosen chose
it's
themselves.
true they
So
sell.
you're
Word of
going to
mouth.
have people that walk that path of righteousness, but 5, 10 years from now, they over here. They done went left. I want to go back to, you was talking about living color, right?
Hmm.
A lot of people don't know, and I found out just recently that the halftime at the Super Bowl
That's right.
became what it is with the performance
Right.
because of Living Colors,
That's
right?
right.
Because listen, they got people in the back room that study everything about us, our language, our movement, what we buy, what we like, what I mean, who's the creative mind and the
Same
forces
guy over
behind
Tubi.
trends. And they've seen that during the commercial, um, or a certain Pacific time, people was going and switching over to where Living Colors was.
Mm-hmm.
So you see 3 million people instantly leave, and you see it drop for the next 15, 12 minutes that you running commercials, and you find out they're over here because they want to watch this hip hop performance with
Mm-hmm.
Wu-Tang, a Method Man. You know what I mean? So it was like, you know what? Let's give them a performance over here so they don't leave. You know what I mean? Make it all inclusive. And that's what they did. And then we're going to get deeper. They seen that hip hop is the voice, right, of the
Mm-hmm.
masses of people, that it's the #1 marketing tool in America.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do, they go to, during the heighten of the protests, where their most famous football players was taking a knee, celebrities was taking a knee, they went and got one lone Negro to tell Black Americans, oh, I thought we was past that. Y'all still kneeling?
Right.
Then what we find out later on, because remember when he made that statement, that was just in a meeting. We didn't know nothing. Then we hear that he's in charge, the head of entertainment for the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he didn't even push for Kaepernick to get signed to a team or tryout. You know, and it's just sad that one individual was able to change the trajectory of a movement that was already in motion. You know, and I think, you know, people learn from it. People seeing it for what it is and what it
If
is,
I could
what
add to
got
that
itself
for
to be.
1 second.
Huh?
If I could add to that for one
Oh
second.
no, go ahead, man.
Who was the black guy who was next to Colin Kaepernick that was kneeling? What's his name?
Who was the black guy that was next to Colin Kaepernick that was nailing?
Yeah.
It was a couple of times he was nailing, so I don't know what occasion you're talking
Most
about.
people don't know.
What was he? Was you talking about? Was he an individual that was in the military, a former military, or something like
He
that?
was on his team. He was right next to him. Dark skinned black dude.
Okay, yeah, I know. I know it was somebody else, and he didn't get no repercussion, huh?
He got fired. He didn't get no rally. Nobody went and bought his jersey. Nobody went and talked about him. See, look, when we start talking about delineation, we got to look at it in this context. Colin Kaepernick, we don't know his parents. We don't know
Mm.
his parentage. Kaepernick is a German last name. We don't know anything about him. Well, we went and bought his jersey, and he never lost no endorsements out front or none of that. He got paid all of his money. That black dude got fired immediately, and we don't know his fucking name. You understand? We
Woo!
don't know his name at all. I
That's
know his
deep.
name. I'm saying it, but I'm waiting to see if anybody in the chat or anybody that's listening
Nah,
know his name. His last name is Davis. What's his first name? Who's he?
I don't know.
You understand what I'm saying, Lord?
His name is David X. The X is for unknown.
You see how it go
Yeah.
though, right? So
Yo,
we
that's
could get caught
crazy.
up in the poor part and make it look like it's the best part. We don't know this black man's name. He's not somebody that's racially ambiguous. He has a black ancestry. So we talking about lineage and FBA, and we saying, okay, foundational black American. We don't know his name. Who sacrificed his life? He didn't have the same advantages as somebody as Kaepernick. We didn't know Kaepernick was black till after he lost the Super Bowl and dodged the rape case. That's two things that black people don't live well. A
Let me
rape
ask you
case.
something. Why don't we know his name? Why did he go away quietly and didn't say nothing?
Why would he have to say something?
Well, listen.
Colin
I'm just looking at
Kaepernick
it
didn't
from
have
my
to
no,
say
no. I
anything.
understand what you're saying, but from my standpoint, I would be like, yo, why y'all still talk? Why y'all talking about him? I just got fired as well. You know what I mean? Like, I would be like, yo, what happened to me? You know what I mean? I guess, I don't know. Maybe he did try to do it and the media shut him down.
So tell them to ask Google. Tell your audience to ask Google because his name
You know what?
is
I wanted to Google his name, but my computer's in the room. I'm like, yo, can somebody Google his name? David?
Davis is his last name. I
You
want
said,
them to
oh, it's
know.
Davis is his last name? I thought
Yeah.
you said his name was David. Davis is his last name. Hold on 1 minute, man. Let me go get my computer.
So this becomes important. I want y'all to understand what it is because we get into the tug of war, right? And the tug of wars are warranted, but we need to have an understanding of those who stood up because we have a discussion, we got a hashtag, and we say, "Oh, we stand with Kaepernick," blah blah blah. But he's not standing with us; he's kneeling, and we're standing. You understand? So, who's the guy who kneeled next to him that didn't get no press conference? Nobody went and bought his jersey. Blah blah blah. Our enemies went and bought Kaepernick's jersey just to burn it, but they had to buy it to burn it. They ain't going to place and steal it to burn it. So we have to have an understanding of who we're highlighting, who we're giving credence to. You know what I'm saying? So that becomes something right there. It's something that's important. It's something of
Oh,
worth.
this is what I was talking about, right? It says
But
the player who kneeled next to Colin Kaepernick during games was his San Francisco 49er teammate Eric Reed. Reed joined Kaepernick in kneeling to protest
there we
racial
go.
inequality and
What's his
police
name?
brutality. His name was Eric Reed, right?
Reed. There we go. Eric Reed. There we go.
All right, he was with the 79ers. Because I thought we
So
was talking about the guy that was a Green Beret. Let me see, Eric Reed.
there we
Where,
go.
what happened to Eric Reed after he kneeled
REID, right?
with, yeah, uh, Kaepernick. Uh, all right, this is what AI said. Well, I did Google, but it said AI overview. After kneeling with Colin Kaepernick, Eric Reed experienced a career disruption,
Woo.
including grievance against the NFL for alleged collusion, a temporary signing with the Carolina Panthers, and eventually free agents, as outlined in this article. After his contract with the 49ers ended, Reed remained unsigned. That was in 2017. 2018, he was signed by the Carolina Panthers midway through the 2018 season and continued to protest during the national anthem. So when his contract ended with the 49ers, because he was playing with Colin Kaepernick with the 49ers, he got signed by the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina Panthers continued to protest. And according to this, he was protesting, and then the next year he signed a 3-year extension, but was released. He remains a free agent since, with little interest from other teams. So he got blackballed too.
100%. Why
In
nobody talk about
2019.
him?
Yo, so they said that Reed and Cal, he filed the grievance, right, with Kaepernick. And
Yeah.
Kaepernick won that grievance, right, against the
Mm-hmm.
NFL for collusion.
Yeah.
But was not discussed because, part of winning is they say, yo, listen, you can't discuss this with the media. You can't tell them what was the overall outcome, how much money we paid you, whatever, whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
he was part of that. So I think he got paid as well.
I don't think you
Uh,
got paid nothing. I think he went off quietly into the night, and that was it.
that was it. It's a shame, man. It's a shame.
Colin Kaepernick spectacle was like, I'm leaving, who's coming with me type shit, the half baked shit that we came up on. It's like, all I want to know is who's coming with me, right? And, but
nobody leaves with him. So because he makes the big stink going out the door, his endorsement's intact and they pay him his contract. Now, Eric Reed gets none of that. Nobody's like, yo, son, they did Eric Reed wrong. We got to buy his jersey. We going to hold him down. Oh, I stand with Eric Reed. They don't even know his fucking name, G.
Yo,
Just
not
who
even
gets paid.
Colin Kaepernick said his name after
Right,
that. Wow. That's
right.
something, man. That's very
So,
telling,
look,
man.
you've seen the work, right? He gets released off of the Niners. He
49ers.
gets signed by the Panthers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Panthers. So the Panthers, right? He's over there with the Panthers and he's keeping this up. There's no footage of that. There's no nothing of that. There's no anything. So they like, no, we can't fuck with it. And then somebody gets the contract and then immediately his contract is cut.
Mm.
He's not getting no bread. So he quietly walks off the NFL as somebody who had a promise as a secondary, one of the illest secondaries in football at the time. He's not
Yeah.
somebody who was a bum or a fourth string or no shit like that. He's one of the illest secondaries because the 49ers don't pick bums for their secondaries.
Yeah.
They don't pick their bums for no positions,
And
but
that
especially
was a
the
big
secondary.
move for the Carolina Panthers to
Yeah,
have him. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And then just to let him go like that is just like crazy. You know what I mean? So,
yeah,
and to really think about it, right? He was more true to the protest than Colin Kaepernick because he's in a whole nother team. He's not even standing next to this man, and he continued to protest. And because this whole thing was like, just because I'm with another team, I'm not gonna stop. You know what I mean? I wasn't doing it because of him. I was doing it because of me. You know
right.
what I mean? He continued to do it, and the end result is that he was ostracized, left alone, and that was the end of his career. Wow, that's crazy, man. Yo, did you see the interview with Colin Kaepernick's wife and say how Jay-Z interfered and colluded with the NFL, the blackball Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah,
You seen that interview with her?
right.
Yes, it's very telling, man. You know, I just hope people see it for what it is and not what it presents itself to be, man. Because
Whew.
um,
Understanding is the best part, Lord.
yeah, he's a billionaire with exceptional amount of power, influence, but it means nothing, man. You know what I mean? Like nobody's going away quiet. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I really respect her, man, because she was speaking her truth. And she works at Hot 97. You know what I mean? So,
Hmm.
you know, a person of that caliber, he can make a phone call and they be like, yeah, we gotta let you go. You know what I mean? And she knows that,
We've
but she
done it
still
before.
was brave enough
Yeah.
to speak her truth. And that's what we need, man. We need more truth tellers, man. We need more frontline warriors. We don't need people, man, that's, co-conspirators with
Cowtown
racism and
and
white.
buck dancing. Yeah, all that bullshit.
Yep. So knowledge, man. I've been on here for a minute, man. We've been rocking out, man. I definitely appreciate you, man. And based on the comments, man, in this chat, they said you was dropping jewels up in here. We got some new people in here, man. We got Ruler in here. We got Janice J Nice. We got Protected by Ancestors. I know that's
Mm,
right. We
right.
got E Smiley. We got Am Berry Banana. You get the berry and the banana. Ah, and she look cute too. How you doing? And we got Alexander Bryan in the building. So we got some people up in here, man. You know what I mean? Shout out to the family, man. For those that are just joining us, we are speaking with Knowledge Born. Knowledge Born is an author, podcaster, He's one of my brothers. He has 12 books. Is it 12?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
He has 12 books. So, do you have some of the covers? Can you show us some of the covers? Oh, these are the ebooks, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're the ebooks. They have to
Where,
go
where,
to
where can they get them up? Online.
DoKnowledgeRadio.com. I got all 12 books right now in the space of Black August and my 10-year anniversary. You can get all 12 books for $90.
Oh, that's not
If
bad.
if you say that, okay, I saw you on Instagram with the great guy Raheem Shabazz, you can
Uh-oh.
get them for $75.
Ooh, 75.
You know
So
what I'm saying?
listen,
On the strength.
when he said $90, that was less than $10 a book. Now
Yeah.
he said $75. That's less than $7 a book. Come on
Right.
now, family. Y'all make sure, man. Y'all. What's the name, man? Get these books, man.
One of my greatest guest series and one of my greatest reunifications was you and Natural. You
Oh,
understand what I'm
word.
saying?
Yeah,
Word bar.
yeah.
In the Pantheon, over 4,000 episodes. A greatest unification space in regards to those who work against recidivism
Mm.
and black unification. So you from the School of Prison Pipeline and
Mm-hmm.
my A alike, our A alike,
Our
Natural.
air light.
Yeah, Natural was
Lord
like, yo,
Natural.
dog, I know the dog,
Yeah,
da, da, da.
yeah. Let me tell them the backstory, right? So the God, Knowledge Born tells me, yo, I want you to come on my podcast. I'm like, yeah, God, don't worry, I'll come on there. Never been on this podcast. I think at that time I didn't even never even hear it. So I get
Mm,
on there and we talking, and he surprised me. He was like, brother, I got a guest I want to bring on to you, and it's Lord Natural. Me and Lord Natural was in we was confined together. We was
mm,
locked up together, man, and me and him was facing severe persecution. You think I bang on the beach now?
mm.
Imagine what I was like behind the enemy lines, where I
Oh,
was telling
Lord.
him, what you gonna do to me? Send me to jail? That was my favorite thing. What you gonna do to me? Send me to jail? I'm gonna get out my face, man. You know what I
Peace,
mean?
God.
So Lord Natural, he seen, you know what I mean? So they was putting us in the box, right? So the first thing they would say is that I'm a gang member and that I'm a leader and I'm
Right.
starting riots and this, that, and the
Woo.
other. So I had to file lawsuits to get out of the box. I had to file lawsuits stating that, as a 5%er, I'm not no gang member. You know what I mean?
Right.
This is the culture of our God. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And I was severely persecuted until the court stepped in and said, yo, listen, they did a temporary injunction saying that they couldn't just put me in the box. You know what I mean? That they had to have evidence. You know what I mean? And that I could have my lessons, I could have my flag, as long as I don't have it outside of my cell. Because they were saying what I was doing was taking the lessons, going in the yard and recruiting. And I wasn't even doing none of that. You know what I mean? I didn't have to go to the yard. Wherever I went, you know what I mean? It was recruiting. You know what I
right.
mean? You walking, talking mathematics, you know what I mean? The magnetic attraction is there. Everybody knew who I was. The police knew who I was. And I had just came from mid-state. So when I was in mid-state, I was on the boxing team. So, name ringing bells, the guard. It was me and the guard, Prince Culture. Me and the
Woo.
guard, Prince Culture. We was the only two guards that was on the boxing team, and we was knocking everything out. You know what I mean? So when I met up with Lord Natural, my name, everybody knew who I was. You know what I mean? I meet up with him. I'm like, oh, you the brother who got the lawsuit. And he was like, you the brother who got the lawsuit. And from there, me and him clicked just like this. You know what I mean? And we was in college together. Me and him graduated college
Right.
together. And the crazy thing is that I graduated about I think it was like 2 weeks before I got released, and I graduated in the top 5% of my class. And
The
what they
top
was
what?
trying to do is they was trying to make the graduation like 3 weeks after I leave. So everybody like, yo, Raheem ain't gonna be here. nah, that ain't happening. It was like, ain't nothing we
Matter of
could do.
fact,
You know what I mean? Because I couldn't come back in and join the graduation, because once you're on parole, you can't never step inside a state facility. So you know what they did? They say, you know what? Just mail us our degrees. We don't need a graduation. So they was like, really? It was like, yeah, really. If he can't come in, so they came to a compromise. They said, you know what? We'll just push the graduation up so that he could be present. You know what I mean? Lord Natural and them did that for me. They stood up. You know what I mean? It was like, nah, we're not doing that. And he's giving the graduation speech. I was a little surprised about that. I was like, yo, you mean to tell me I got to get up there in front of everybody and speak?
what's wrong,
Yo,
God?
yo, my father came, my brother, my family. At that time, I was married. My wife and kids came, and it was packed. And I don't think, man, there was a dry eye in the building when I finished. You know what I mean? Because I talked about my life, my transformation, and my plans that I was gonna do once I was released. You know what I mean? And so they
You
allowed me
stay
to.
true.
And you know what? Truth be told, everything I said I was gonna do, I did, and beyond that.
And
You know what
beyond.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
beyond that. Like I was writing movie scripts in there. I wrote my first movie, The Sun Will Rise, in Woodburn Correctional Facility. I came out. That was the first one that I did. I won awards, started working for Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? I started writing for the Vibe Source, XSL magazine. All of that was manifested in my mind. I said I was gonna do it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then I took it further with documentaries, and I got some other things that I'm about to manifest. And it all starts from a determined idea.
Right
Once
is
you have
wrong.
a determined idea and you see it through, So to go back to the story, yeah, Lord Natural, man, they made that happen for me. I graduated, and Lord Natural, like, yo, he was one of the most intelligent brothers, man. Like, for real, for real. There was
Salute.
times, like, I'm not even gonna hold you. I was like, yo, I quit, man. Can't, come on, man. I'm not doing this, man. You know what I mean? Like, yo, they will have you, because it was called the New York Theological Seminary, right? So they will have you do an exegesis of a Bible verse, and you had to speak 15 minutes on that, make a whole sermon around that. And then they would have, like, it was non-denominational, so you had 5%ers in it, you had Muslims, you had atheists.
Mhm.
So they would ask you, what's your school of thought or your belief, and ask someone to challenge you on that. You know what I mean? And then they would be like, all right, you're not a 5%er, you're a Muslim today. We need you to, you know what I mean? So it was
Right.
like real intense. It taught you debating skills, critical thinking, and but by the time I graduated, oh yeah, I was A1 from day one. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell me nothing. You know
And
what I
it's
mean?
showing proof to this day in no limited time, God.
Yeah,
That's it.
and then the good thing about it was, right, they had took college out of New York State. Governor Pataki took college out. It was like, nope, too much money. These guys just getting educated. They don't want you to get educated, because a lot of people taking advantage of that college program. You
They
know,
want you to be a thing.
it was. I'm gonna tell you, man. If I didn't get immersed in that college program, I probably would have never came home. I would have found
Mm.
myself in trouble, because with the college program, everybody was loving it. They was like, yo, wow, you in college? You really doing that? I was like, yeah. You see me walking with my books. Yeah, I had a whole bag of books walking through with the
It
books.
transformed you to around the way. The same
Yeah.
culture that we were brought up in. If you was doing something, nah, you doing something. You gonna
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
somebody.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it was situations where I would find out later, and I'd be like, "Yo, why you ain't tell me? I would have came out there and was like, nah, we don't need you for that. You about to go home. You go over there and still
That's
study them
wrong.
books."
And we gonna
I was
live
like,
through you.
"Yeah,
Yeah. We gonna live through you. Yes.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah." So
exactly it.
they was extremely happy for me to do that. You know what I mean? And
Right.
yo, you know what's crazy, man? I got wall over here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8 certificates. I keep saying I'm gonna do it, right? I don't even have my degree up there. I still got it in the same vanilla envelope that they gave it to me in. You know what I mean? And I said I'm gonna put it up one day. I just gotta what I gotta do is I gotta measure it and get the
Yeah.
right frame for it. But what I was telling someone, right, is that it's a degree in human service, right? I was telling
Mm.
someone that I knew then, like I know now, that I wasn't going to get a job. You know what I mean? It was never for me to go out and get a job. And one time I was like, yeah, I could work with at-risk youth and with social service and things like that. But if I was going to do that in any type of capacity, it would have been through a nonprofit that I started. You know what I mean? Um, and I never I knew I wasn't going to ever use a degree in terms of using it to get employment and things like that. Because the best part of it was learning how to think critically and analyze situations, getting my debating skills up, learning how to departmentalize information. You know what I mean? Because, they give you a book like this. I'm like, come on, man. How long it's going to take me to read that? And they was like, right. And I was like, if I read it, I'm not going to remember it. It's too much information. And they was like, man, look, we're going to teach you how to compartmentalize information where you probably be able to say the first 10 pages verbatim. I was like, where? How? And they taught me, you know what I mean? They taught me how to speed read. You know what I mean? I could just look through a chapter, go like this. All right, I'm ready. And give a whole speech on that one chapter.
Yeah.
And they see like, like the app, like if you don't know the science on how to do that, you will be looking at me like, that's crazy. How you learn how to do that?
Right.
Yeah, it was taught like that. That's how I used to be. And this is another thing, and then we go to another conversation, another subject. In order to get into that program, someone that was an alumni or one of the professors had to refer you.
Right.
And when they refer you, you had to write an essay of why you wanted to get in the program, and then you had to sit in front of like 5 professors, and they're just going to bomb you with questions. And then they're going to make the decision whether you should get in that program or not. Because it was only, I think it was like, we started with maybe 20, and I think the graduating class was like maybe 10 or 12 people. Yeah, a lot of people ain't make the cut, man. It was real intense. And the professors was former, not former, because they still was in there, was inmates that
Mm.
had master's and doctor's degrees. So we had an individual named Bubba Hayes, right? His
Mm-hmm.
name is Lawrence Hayes. You can look him up. He was a former Black Panther that was on death row and was the youngest individual in New York State. I think it was the 1970s or something like that was on death row. Like the 60s going into the 70s.
Right.
And he did 20-something years before it was ruled that the death chamber was cruel and unusual punishment. So
Mm.
they gave him life in prison, and he wound up doing like 20-something years, and he came home. And you know the Munsters,
Yeah.
the one with the peak, Grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah, he used to come to the prison and see him. Yeah, he had
Crazy.
a lot of Hollywood celebrities that come to the prison and see him. But he was on TV after he got out, and he was talking about an individual that was facing the death penalty. And I think the governor or somebody seen him on TV and was like, yo, violate him. So they brought him back to jail, and they gave him like 5 years or something for a violation. He wound
Crazy.
up beating it and going home. But while he was there fighting his case, he was a professor at the college.
Mm.
And then I had another individual named Jazz. Jazz was a part of the council with Nicky Barnes.
Mm-hmm.
Jazz was in there for about 20, damn him, I think going on 30 years. You know, he's from Harlem. We had another couple of other brothers. Another brother, I think he was with the Black Liberation Army. You know what I mean? He was like a freedom fighter. But these were the individuals that I was around. You know what I mean? And that, you know, was teaching us in college. You know what I mean? Like the brother Bubba Hayes, me and him, we still in contact today, right? Actually, he came down to Atlanta for it was Troy Davis. He came down
Mm-hmm.
here for a rally for him when they was trying to execute him, which they eventually did under Obama. But Bubba Hayes, well, I'll never forget, man. They was mad at him too. This is when he was going home, because he did eventually go home. He went home before me, right? And he had to turn in everybody's grade, right? Yo, we was like, yo, what you gonna give us? Yo, you leaving? You can tell us what you gonna give us. He wouldn't tell us. He wouldn't tell us what he was gonna give us, right? Yo, why he gave everybody an A+. Yo, those professors, the administration, all of them. Now you gotta remember, this is New York Theological Seminary, right?
Yeah.
They are big in New York. You know what I mean? Like, it's real big. This ain't no prison shit. This is like a real
Right.
college, right?
Chaplaincy, everybody
Yeah,
who
yo,
working,
they was
everybody.
heated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, I didn't understand. Like, when I got up with him years later, I was like, yo, you crazy. I was like, yo, you gave everybody an A+. I was like, yo, you know, everybody. First of all, I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Everybody was passing, like nobody was gonna fail. But come on, man, it was people that was barely passing, just passing. Like, yo, listen, my papers was superb. I was getting A+. Like, it was a few of us that, you know, but the whole class. And I asked, I said, yo, why you did that, man? He said, yo, we talk about y'all, you know, doing stuff that's a revolutionary act. That's a revolutionary act. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like, just the virtue of the fact that y'all in the belly of the beast and y'all took it
Mm-hmm.
upon yourself to educate yourself further. He was
Yeah.
like, man, y'all deserve more than an A+. Y'all deserve liberation. Y'all deserve freedom. I was like, yeah,
Real
that's my man. Yeah,
real
that was
shit.
my man. But yeah, man, it was people like that. Like, yo, I used to go to him. I'd be like, yo, you was on death row? I was like, yo, I don't even know. I'm like, yo, this little bit of time I got, man, this shit about to blow my mind. Like, yo, you ain't go crazy? And he was just telling me, like, nah. And he told me that he had a stay of execution twice,
Mm.
right? And he said that they had came to him and they asked him what he wanted to eat. He was like, what I want to eat? I don't want to eat nothing. You know, like they asked you, what's your last meal? And he
Right.
said, yo, he cut his hair, all his hair off. I was like, what the fuck would they cut all your hair off? They gonna kill you. What the fuck? And he was like, yo, they didn't want, he said, because that shit, your head is gonna go on fire if you got hair. And he said that should have smelled through the whole prison. They more concerned with how the prison gonna smell after they after they fry your ass.
Then
So they
you.
cut your hair. I was
Yeah.
like, damn. And he was
Right.
like, yo, both times he got like a stay of execution. Like at 12 before 12 o'clock, the phone rang and it was like either the governor or somebody, and it was like, all right, give him a stay. And then, you know, he'll go back to the yard and this, that, and the other. And then something will happen and they'll be like, all right, we got a new date for you. Send him right back to death row. You know what I mean? And then the same shit happened again. And then that's when they ruled it was unconstitutional and they took death row out of New York State. But, you
Mm.
know, speaking with individuals like that, man, like those individuals are you know, I told you, you know how I was saying, yo, I was dead. I seen death. not,
Word.
not like that though. You know what I mean? Listen, you don't even know what that feeling feel like. But you know, to be able to go through that and come out on the other side, man, it says a lot about an individual. Because yo, listen, I done seen suicides. I done seen, you know, police coming by on the gurneys because someone hung themselves. You know, I was in Elmira and I was in reception. That's where
Mm-hmm.
you first come in and they're trying to classify you to find
Mm-hmm.
out whether they're going to send you to a max, medium, or minimum, right?
Right.
But this was gladiator school. Back then, Elmira, oh my God, man, listen. And
My cousin was in Elmira. Yeah, I
yeah,
already know.
yo, it was crazy. And I couldn't see it from where I was positioned at, but I heard them, everybody yelling, do it, jump, 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 jump. And then you heard, oh shit, oh shit. I didn't know what was happening. I was like, I know nobody do that shit. And then you just hear quiet. Then you hear a whole bunch of keys, police running, and they coming down the chair. And then next thing you know, they taking somebody out on the gurney. You like, oh man, yo, he really did that. And then the police told people that I think dude had like less than, he had probably like 18 months to do or a year, something like that. He didn't have no substantial amount of time.
Didn't do that time no more. Yeah.
Yeah, and it wasn't like nobody was bothering him because where we was at, we was all on lockdown until we had to go see the nurse and all of this and get declassified. Then they let you out. You go out to population to the yard. But we was on lockdown, so it was like, and you in yourself by yourself. So it was like, yo, what the fuck he do that shit for? You know what I mean? You just gotta imagine. I was real young too at that time. So me coming in and I'm just like, yo, he killed himself. Like, this is what's going down in here. And they was
Right.
like, yo, that ain't nothing, man. It was like, how long you been here? You gonna see some shit that's gonna blow your mind. I'm like, yo, that shit right there. Like, and then, you know, when you see shit like that, you gotta vow to yourself, man, that you're gonna survive it and you're not gonna let this, you know what I mean, make you a victim of your own circumstance. And
Right.
I had to go through that with police in Elmira. Actually, um, I had gotten into an argument. It was something minor to me, but what they didn't like is that, you know, when you show that you're not fearful, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm talking to him, looking him straight in the face, like, yeah, nah, I'm not doing that. What you mean not doing that? What part you didn't understand? I said, I'm not doing that. Oh, you gonna go in the hole? Okay,
Okay.
go. Let's get the going. You know what I mean? When they see when you talking to them like that, they like, oh, okay, yeah, we got you. So yo,
Yeah.
listen, yo, knowledge. They asked me, right? They said, so now I'm classified. They about to tell me where they gonna send me, right? Because I'm not staying there. So they tell you, all right, you only can have your legal work, one religious book, and you can have your wedding ring. I had a chain. They made me send that home. I had a watch. They made me send that home. Oh, my sneakers made me send that home. Books, everything made me send it home. You only can have one book. You can get books afterwards, but whatever you brought in there with you, you can't have it. Just legal work, one religious book, and your wedding band ring. That's it. Everything else got to go. So they ask you, they bring a paper and say, yo, where you want to do with it? Do you want to donate it? And if you donate it, you donate it to the Red Cross, which
Right.
is their people, not yours. You
Right.
know what I mean? And if it's something good, like them sneakers, brand new sneakers and all that I had and clothes, they gonna keep that shit. I still had shit with the tags on it. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't donating this shit. You gonna keep this. So when they asked me some of the stuff, you know what I mean? It was like personal writings and shit that I had. You know, I wanted to send it home. So what they asked you, they said, You want to donate or you want to send it home? So I'm watching them tell everybody that. They give you a bag. They have you fill out a form where you want to send it to. Yo, when I got up there, you know what the police told me? He said, when you die, where you want us to send your body to? He didn't ask me where I want to send my personal property to. He said, yo, when you die, where you
Crazy.
want us to send your body to? You know what I told that cracker?
What you
I
doing?
said, send it to hell, because that's probably where I'm going. That motherfucker, that motherfucker tried to grab me, right? Yeah, he tried to grab me, Knowledge. I hit him with the, you know what I mean? And I just told him, like, yo, listen, it ain't gonna end well for you. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those. I'm like, and I told him, I said, yo, you got the file right there. Open that shit and read that. And it was like, get him out of here, get him out of here. Yeah, yeah. So yo, they all came and they was like, yo, cuff him, right? So I was like, yo, get off me, man. I was like, yo, here. So this is how I got him, right? I let him cuff me, right? But I let him cuff me in the front, right? Because now I can still kick, I can still grab you. Because
Yeah.
I thought they was gonna get down and dirty with me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, play with me if you want. It ain't gonna, I'm telling them, it ain't gonna end like you think. And that was their first mistake. You know what I mean? Because nobody wanted to grab me. Because I was telling them, yo, I'm telling you, go ahead, I did grab me. Yeah, you ain't gonna grab me. And they was all scared. Yeah, they was all scared. I was like, yeah, go ahead, touch me, grab me. They didn't want to grab me. So I was like, yo, here, man, come on. You know what I mean? I was like, yo, I ain't do nothing. I ain't touch y'all. Here. So they handcuffed me in the front. You know that's a violation. You're supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Yo, when the captain came down, yo, he was heated. He was like, why is he cuffed in the front? They was like, well, he wouldn't let us. What do you mean he wouldn't let you? Who is he? You know what I mean? He was like, who is he? I'm telling you, you better go read that file, man. You know what I mean? You want to know who I am? Go read that file. I ain't say it, though. But he was like, yo, by this time, they already got me into the holding cell. So they took it off and put me in there, right? But it set a precedence. You know what I mean? Like, yo, he ain't playing. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't going to just do him like you do anybody else. You know what I mean? And there was a
Right.
couple of people coming up to me like, yo, you wild, man. I was like, yo, I'm not wild, man. I'm just like, yo, I'm just not tolerating it, man. I mean, man gonna ask me when I die, where he gonna send my body. But I say all that to say, yo, that day, I was locked down 23 hours. I think, matter of fact, for the first 48 hours, they didn't even let me out. Then they was letting me out 1 hour a day until they finally got me up out of there. So I had plenty of time to think. And I said to myself, and I made a vow to myself, no matter what, right, that I was gonna come out on the other side. You know what I mean? Like suicide would never be in the equation. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I'm not surrendering my manhood, my dignity. No one's gonna talk to me in any type of form, fashion, or manner that I feel was disrespectful. Like I wasn't just gonna have it. You know what I mean? And it was certain things, man, I probably shouldn't have did that I did do. You know what I mean? Like, yo, man, it got to the point, man, I was like, yo, man, listen, man, they can get it. You know what I mean? And you just got to do it in a way where, you can get away with it. You know what I mean? So that's why I be telling people, man, y'all be acting like y'all scared of these people, man. I done seen them, I done seen them in agony, in pain. I done seen them crying. You know what I mean? I done seen them, yo, I quit. You know what I mean? Yeah, you make it like that for you, where you be ready to quit. But listen, man, we done talk, man, crazy long. We got some more people in the building. K Born, we got Long Kiss, we got Susan, Eric Scott, we got instead of fantastic, hacktastic. Got a few people, man. Yo, listen, we ain't gonna do no recap, but for those that are just joining us, man, we got Knowledge Born in the building, man. Make sure y'all go follow him. Make sure y'all go get his book. And make sure, man, y'all go get this book. And if you know a black independent bookstore that doesn't carry the book that you think should carry the book, and any bookstore for that matter, yo, hit me up. You know what I mean? I'll send them a complimentary copy and
Right.
get it on the bookshelf. I'm on Amazon. We got physical copies on Amazon. We also have the ebook version on Amazon as well. You not on Amazon, Lord?
Nah, I'm on DoKnowledgeRadio.com and DoKnowledge.com, and I'm working on my author, website to what is it, Tertulia, whatever that is. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Yeah, they give you
I
a
know.
little spot over there. Yeah.
Yeah, let me ask you something. Is there a reason that you not gonna put it on Amazon? You anti Amazon?
I ain't anti Amazon. I'm just making sure I get the best bang for my buck. Working around with people in percentages, and Amazon's percentages ain't the same as other folks' percentages.
Yeah,
So
that's true, right? That's why it's good to have it on multiple platforms, right?
right,
Because
right.
there's a segment of society, man. Yo, I'm not even gonna hold you, man. That all they do is order from Amazon.
I
Matter of fact,
agree.
my sister was over here the other day, right? And she was ordering something off of Amazon, and she opened up her cart, and I'm like, yo, you buying that off of Amazon? Like, yo, stuff that you could just walk in the store and get.
Yeah,
Toilet paper, soap,
right.
shampoo. I'm like, she was like, yo, I buy everything off of Amazon. I'm like,
I
yo, but we
agree.
don't have to go to the store. You can just go pick that up.
Right.
It's just something about Amazon that people buy. But I definitely feel you because I felt like that when I had the DVDs. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I did have it available on my website, but I was moving units on Amazon. It was more convenient, I guess, if
Agree.
people was going on there.
I
I
got
didn't
a
get
copy. I got a copy of the series off of
yeah,
Amazon, but there was nothing like getting it direct to consumer. I got it from you. When I
yeah,
got it from you, you could write things on there that I could keep that
yeah,
Amazon didn't afford you an opportunity on. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like,
yeah.
I got it, shipped it out, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah,
You know,
that's why I do book signings. Like there was several people who was like, yo, I was gonna get it from Amazon, but I wanted it personally signed, so they came out to the book
yeah,
signing. But I'm gonna tell you there is an advantage of doing it on Amazon, and we'll discuss that in the back end. I'll tell you about that. But yeah, some people just I had sent the email out and I was letting people know about where they can get it at, and it was just so happened that one of the brothers that was in that email, that particular list, he's an independent uh, uh, black bookstore. Man, he hit me, man. He texted me on my phone. He let me have it. He was like, man, don't ever send me nothing like that, man. He said, yo,
mm.
you went to Amazon before you came to me. He said,
uh,
Amazon. He told me, he said, Amazon is the death of independent black bookstores.
fun.
And I was just like, man, I got you, man. I got you, man. Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you a box.
Yeah,
But you gotta understand, like, there's not a lot of traditional black bookstores, and I support my black bookstores. That's why all of the bookstores and the outlets that was you know, selling elementary genocide, I got them with Radical Hope. You know what I mean? So it's not like I'm not using them. I'm still using them, but we gotta survive with the times. You know what I mean? And to keep it 100, that same individual just opened up. He just closed down his location, and now it's a coffee shop slash bookstore. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you got to sell coffee and bagels and to offset, to get that rent money and,
yeah,
and scale your business because you can't just survive off of books alone. You know what I mean? And it's
Right.
the same way for authors, that if I don't use this outlet that can put me in front of the world, you know
Right.
what I mean, and just rely on the handful of black bookstores, then it's not going to reach as many people as it possibly can. And my goal is to reach people. It ain't really about the money, you know what I mean? Because I got a whole nother life, career, and profession outside of this, you
It got
know.
to make sense, right?
Yeah. It got to make sense. So, I rock out with them. There's, what is it called? Light. It's another one called Light something that you could use too. We're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna tell you a play with Amazon, that you can do that can make it lucrative for you. You know what I mean? Because like I told you, man, I went to number one, man. I think it was like maybe 3-4 days. You know what I mean? And it's a situation, you know what I mean? A situation you could just, and yo, to be honest with you, man, a lot of it was the support, you know what I mean? And this is the thing, right? When people know that you got a viable product and they know that they can trust you, then they're gonna, what's the name? They're gonna support you. You know what I mean? I got people that supported me from over 15, 20 years ago. You know what I mean? They supported me with elementary genocide, school to prison pipeline, elementary genocide 2, border education versus the board of incarceration, elementary elementary genocide 3, academic holocaust. So them same people, you know, went and purchased the book as well. And we did substantial amount of marketing and promotion. You know what I mean? I had a team come in and help me out with that. We put together a marketing budget. And that's how we made that happen. Right now, I got some ads running on Amazon. Um, Another, what, I think my birthday is on the 22nd. I think a week after that, I got some billboards going up in the city of Atlanta. So I got some things, and I'll show you that play too, man, about the billboard. A lot of people think it's real expensive and things like that, but it's not all that expensive, man. You know what I mean? You just gotta know somebody that knows somebody.
And know somebody. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You gotta know somebody, man, who ain't trying to take you to the bank, man. Because one person, man, the price they told me, man, I was like, yeah, you gotta be kidding me, right? Like, nah, man, that's what it costs.
They forgot you from New York. They can't
Huh?
talk to you for a can of oil.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and then I went to a sister, man. The sister was like, "Nah, I get you. I got you. This is what it is." So it's gonna be two billboards. It's gonna be one over by Georgia State, and then I'm gonna have the digital one that's
Mm.
gonna be in Times Square. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So yeah, I'll put you onto that play, man. You know me, man. I'm not no gatekeeper, man. I want to see all my people get it. You
Right.
know what I mean? So the next time I come on your podcast, you be like, yo, Rob, I got 100,000 people, man. You know what I mean? Tuned in. Yeah. But all right, man. You want to say something in your last closing words?
Yeah.
Yo, my
Honest to
nephew
you.
just stepped in the building, Mr. Stapleton. What's up, man? Hey, yo, listen. August 16th, man, I need you in New York. The family reunion. You got my number, hit me, but I think I sent you all the information. But yeah, man, definitely come out, man. Cause my son, he's gonna be there, and he asked about you. He want to see you. Your pops is gonna be there. The whole family gonna be there. This is gonna be monumental. I think we probably gonna be close to 100 deep. You know what I mean? And what's crazy about that, people was asking me early on, yo, how many people you think gonna show up? I was like, probably 100. I think it was like 100, Raheem. But
Right.
listen, I just did the numbers. We ain't at 100 yet, but we close. And we got a couple of more weeks, and you don't know who's gonna come that didn't, already make it known. You know what I mean? And I know there's people gonna bring other people, so yeah, we might get a close to 100. We don't get close to 100. I know we got 75. We got 75. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be probably the biggest family reunion. You know, I'm the one that put it in the universe. And I got other family members, man, that be like, all right, yeah, we're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. We're gonna make it happen. And I ain't even gonna lie, man. Yo, they took a lot of burden off of me. You know what I mean? My little sister, oh, who's getting the tables? I was like,
Mm.
tables? Like, yeah, we need 4 tables for the food. I'm like, oh, yo, I'm like, oh, okay. She was
You
like,
like, oh, food? You like
Who's
table? Yeah.
who's he gonna
Yeah.
put the food on? I was like, look,
Right.
man, we be figuring shit out along the way. I'd have got up there and been like, yo, here's some money, yo, get in the cab, yo, go get a table. But we gonna rent. She showed me where to rent it from. They'll bring it to us. They'll come pick it up. So I told her get 4 tables. We're gonna get 4 tables. We're gonna get probably about 50 chairs. So they'll come bring all of that. They'll come bring your grill and all that. I'm like, oh wow, they do all that. So yeah, she was like, yeah. So I'm like, woo, ain't gotta worry about that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we get t-shirts, um we got book bags for the kids,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So anybody got any kids that's in the family, they're gonna get, you know, a book bag with some books and some school supplies. We got games, and then we got a couple of prizes, you know, some cash money prizes. You know, but I'm trying to figure out how we gonna coordinate and do all this, man. Cause my thing is, man, we gotta do this for the babies, man. I ain't trying to put no money in no grown people's hands. You know what I mean? Let's give it to the young. You know what I
Always
mean?
bug.
So we got to come up with some game and have some prizes, and
You
you
know
know
you
what
the
I mean?
best. Know what you gonna figure it out.
Yeah. I'm gonna figure it out, man. So that's the next exciting thing for me. So that's why I really like. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna not do too many more book signings until after I handle this with the family, man. I gotta take a break, man, and do that. And then once I'm done with that, man, it's back to the grill again. And then when you coming back to the A, Lord?
Like September. But I'm bringing something down to South Florida. So if you available in that first week of September, you know what I'm saying, you just get at me and we could do a sign-in slash screening down in South Florida, down in Miami. You know what I'm saying? I got a couple of spaces where we could make something great happen.
You know what day in September? What's the first? What that weekend? The first weekend?
Yeah, first weekend.
What Saturday and Sunday? It's gonna be what day?
Yeah, Saturday,
Saturday and
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
Friday,
gonna put it.
Saturday, Sunday. Any of that time, let me
Yeah.
know and I'll put something in play.
All right. I'm on what's the name, man? Supposed to be going to Florida anyway, man. You know, it was a time I was coming through there for a minute, man. I don't go that way
I
no more.
remember. I remember.
Yeah. Last time I was in Florida, I was in St. Port Lucie. I was going out there to see my sister.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got a sister that stay out there. But I got family. I don't they don't live in Miami, but I think they might live like an hour out. And I need to see them anyway. It's been a minute since I've seen them, so I need to make my rounds. But yeah, it said we got 48, 49, 50, we got about 50 people. Stretch Angel, Tragic, and 48 others joined. I don't know if that's how many people's on here now. Yo, the numbers on here don't even be matching. You know that, right?
Yeah, yeah. Of
It'll
course.
tell you got 5 people and it'd be 100 people in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
But it's
man.
love. This is my elder. This is the older God. You understand what I'm saying? He put me on to a lot of things. And as far as Do Not Radio goes, not just as a interview person, but every time I had something in regards to a celebration or a fundraiser, my air light has always came through. And some people are physically wearing shirts that the God pressed up for me. You understand what I'm
Right,
saying? On the
right.
rim, this is real. So, for who he is and what he does, that's somebody I always stand 10 toes down. If I had 11 toes, it would be 11 toes down for the God. You understand what I'm saying? He's a man of character. He's a man of integrity. And he's a man that no matter what I'm doing, no matter where it is, and no matter what advance or no advance notice, because I'll be popping up on the guy. You
Oh
understand what I'm
yeah,
saying? He
absolutely.
always come through and show love. So he's a testament of what is true and what is living, true and living together. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? And that's real, man. So that's my last word. Where I want to stand with somebody who has a testament of integrity, a testament of what it is. I don't care what y'all try to mix him up with in regards to any of the rest of these things. Hear from mouth to ear, from head to heart, from somebody who's real, and you'll get the real and don't get caught up in the trick-knowledge. So.
Man, that right there, man, was monumental, man. That's like that read like my bio right there, man. It read like my bio. Yeah, man.
It's
But yo,
real, man.
listen, man. It's always an honor and a privilege, man, because you never know, what trajectory or path you're gonna end up on. You know what I mean? A lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, I might do an individual podcast, and I don't even hear it. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to be in 4 documentaries. I done
Mm.
sat down and did interviews, hours of interviews. I can name 4 individuals that came to me and said, "Yo, we want you in this documentary." And none of that shit came out, and none of that shit time of day. Yeah, for real, for real. So now I gotta vet people, man, because you ain't just coming to me, man, wasting my time with no camera, and then nothing never come out. You know what I mean? And the next time I do it, I'm gonna have my camera rolling as well. So when you don't put it out, I'm putting it out. Cause yeah, it was one of them, man. I was on fire that day. I even had, you know what I mean? Yeah, like sometimes,
How you get down, Lord? So I already
yeah, but no,
understand.
sometimes, it just if it's in you, it's gonna come, man. You know what I mean? And it was just that day, I was like, damn. At the end, I was like, damn. Yeah, that was one. I was like, yeah, you don't always get it like that. You know what I mean? And for that not to come out, I was like, man. Matter of fact, I might have. I'm gonna write his name down so I can remember. I'm gonna have to give him a call. Yo, whatever happened to that, man? Cause we was out in the sun too. I remember that day. The sun was killing it too, man. And I was just like, yo, don't even focus on the sun. I don't care how hot it get, you know what I mean? Like, we gonna burn up in here. I'm gonna get this off. Yeah, I was like, yo, I'm gonna get this off. You know what I mean? It never came out, man. So for you to tell me, you know what I mean, that episode, was number 1, that's monumental, man. That's monumental. You could always do, how they do the throwbacks. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I need. Yeah,
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 yeah, you could play that back, run that
yeah. I'm
back,
gonna
man.
holler at the guy Che Black. But we got to do something physical. You see what I'm saying?
Oh
Because
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's
Yo, the
there's
brother, I
a
was
space
just with
where
him.
yeah,
I was just with him.
when you defy recidivism and you able to show the true and living what you're doing now, that works for Voices of the Diaspora, and it also works for Do Not Radio documentary. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
All right, man.
it'll be out, Lord. You understand?
Yeah, yeah,
Honest
yeah.
to you, honest to your audience, man. Honest to whoever listens to this on the reverb. I'm out, Lord.
All right, yo, peace. Peace to the God.
Peace to the God.